and welcome everyone to PRTV. I'm your host Harrison Kratz, and I'm joined by Valerie Simon, and we are sitting here right before the PRSA New York meeting for the month of January, where Valerie will be speaking. So, Valerie, what will you be speaking about tonight?
I'm actually going to be talking about how to use social media and leverage your network to find a job in this tough job market.
So I think that leads us right into my first question, that you're the founder of Helpa PR Pro, co-founder, sorry, with Eric Hansen.
Correct.
Yes, co-founder of Helpa PR Pro out. So what was the inspiration to start that?
Well, Eric, who I just hold in the highest regard, and I, one evening we're talking on the phone, and he had recently done a Twitter effort to help two gentlemen who he was friends with get jobs, and it was good, but we realized there had to be more we could do. And quite frankly, we knew too many people who were, frankly, too talented to be out of work.
Yeah.
At the same time, I have a lot of clients, a lot of friends who had mentioned to me that they had a position it was really important to fill, their business was depending upon it, but, you know, did I know anyone? And maybe the folks I knew weren't exactly the right match.
Yeah.
But we thought if there was a better way to leverage our networks, perhaps we could bring, you know, these folks together and maybe do some good. So we rounded up some friends from around the country, our champions, and we began this effort.
Oh, that's great. Now, I've met some people that have done some great, they use social media to get land jobs. One of my past guests on the show, Kyle Hardy, did an amazing job right out of college. Now, has there been any standout stories from HAPA that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the biggest PR agencies in the city, and I'll just talk New York for a moment since we are here in
exactly.
New York, center of my universe.
That's fine. I'm moving here.
But I'll move away. But some of the, all the big agencies, that Burson Marsteller, Libby Taylor, whoever Shandwick, have hired people that they've met through HAPA, which has been really exciting. We also have some, I want to say, more quieter hires on a more senior level where they didn't want to necessarily admit that they were, in the middle of the job search. My favorite story, though, is actually from Atlanta, so it takes us a little away from New York City. Katie Wall, who, she was actually on a plane, on an airplane on February 19th, which was our first HAPA event.
Okay.
And she made a video, and she shared it with Kelly Crane, who is our HAPA champion down in Atlanta. And everyone during that day was tweeting about her. I mean, she had a really strong network of people who supported her and believed in her. And by the time her plane landed in New York, and I actually got to see her and meet her that evening, and she's just as sparkling a personality in real life as she was on that video. A lot of fun to meet. And bottom line was, she had several new connections. One of them turned into a job at working there and becoming a HAPA champion.
Oh, there you go.
So,
that's great.
Yeah, wants to help him give back.
Now you started off at American University,
yes.
And I saw that you started off more in politics and government. So how did your time there, and how did that start kind of lead to being so big in PR now?
Sure. American University was the most wonderful experience. I can't say enough about it. I had all sorts of opportunities. During my time there, I had the opportunity to TA for, he was then Dean Kerwin, Neil Kerwin. He's now president of the university.
Okay.
He was an amazing leader and a mentor. And I did a lot of things in public affairs with the Campaign Management Institute that really helped me to understand it was the issues that drove me and helping to shape the issues. So while I was kind of waiting to, I got deferred from Stanford for law school, and that had been my dream. I had gotten into Tulane, deferred for a year, and during that time, I realized I didn't want to go into law.
Okay.
And I found a little ad in the newspaper, and it said the job was about reading through the news and talking about it. I love talking about the news. Someone's going to pay me to talk about the news. How great is that? So I started working for a company called VMS, Video Monitoring Services, which basically I never really left. I just got continuous opportunities. There's some common ownership between VMS and Borellis. So
there you go. So now, being friends with you on Facebook, you have two beautiful kids, and that you seem to always have a great time with. Now, how has being a mother helped you become a better communicator?
It's funny, after my son was born, he's 4 years old now, I really kept it very hush-hush about being a mom, because I've worked very hard to develop my professional demeanor, and I really didn't want to be seen as a mom in the workplace because that's not what anyone's paying me to do. It was during maternity leave with my second, who she's now 2 years old, that I met up with Stephanie Smirnoff on on Twitter. And Stephanie, who is also known as PR Mama, and if you go to prmama.com, you will find my favorite blog.
Okay.
Love it. She's president of DeVries, and she's married to, as she refers to him, the Russian, and she has a 6-year-old son. And she, in my opinion, does it all, and she does it all with humor and class. And she made me realize that, it really helped fill her out as a PR professional. Being a mom, you learn very quickly about everything from setting expectations to crisis management to, helping people realize their goals. And I think the biggest thing for me is my kids, as you've seen, have given me so much joy that it very much wants me to kind of give back and be the best individual I can be, somebody that they're proud of.
I just comment on that piece. I noticed that that your Facebook persona is so much different than what we see, and I could definitely tell though that speaking with you through PR Stud Chat that it definitely it definitely did show that you were more well-rounded and that you did know how to communicate with us kids too. But
well, as when you friended me on Facebook, I sent you a disclosure.
Yes.
I do this to any professionals because what I've come to realize is I want to be very open and transparent about who I am. I am a mom and I'm proud of it, but I send a little disclosure saying that my Facebook account is a personal account.
Yeah.
You may find a potentially obnoxious number of pictures of my 2 adorable children. But if you still want to be friends with me, knowing that, I would be more than happy to kind of welcome you into that part of my.
All right. So my other question, going back to professional, in that you've been at Burroughs Luce for 10 years now, right? Now, how is, it's the decade, a lot has changed in the past decade. How has your position specifically changed with the industry?
It's been amazing. Burroughs has been around since the 1800s. And I think the last 10 years, not just because of my presence there, but has been the most exciting time. 10 years ago, so that was 2001. September 10th, 2001. I actually started as general manager of the Express services, which, remember, this was the days before Google News. This was how people found out their information fast. It was via fax and email. We would take all the daily newspapers and monitor for the most relevant information and send it to them. And September 11th, 2001 was my second day on the job.
What?
We had Fortune 500 clients, government agencies, the big telecom players, everyone you could imagine, people in the building. I mean, the way I found out was my fax machine started getting kickbacks from fax machines that no longer existed. Talk about learning to and working with some of these clients, the big networks and media in the coming days to help them monitor the news as we're preparing as a nation to go to war. Was just extremely powerful, and really listening to our clients and understanding what their real needs were. It's been incredible to watch, thanks to technology, all of that evolve. I mean, we just launched a new portal, and it's really a compilation of those client feedback and the marketplace feedback and helping people really use the real-time information that's available now in meaningful ways. So it's been quite exciting. I get
started off excited, to say the least. So, we already talked about HAPO, and I had Deirdre on last week, and obviously, we all work together now on the podcast, on PR Stud Chat. Now, being co-founder of both of these big communities, what have you been able to take away from the communities?
I think the most important takeaway I have is that you really can use some of these social media tools to develop incredibly strong, powerful relationships. I've made a lot of incredible friends, clients. It all somewhere blurs along the way. And I think, I've learned you certainly can't control a community. Nobody manages a community. You help to facilitate and you nurture it and you work with it, but the community takes on a life of its own. And I've been very fortunate in that the folks who I've worked with and gotten together have been so great. They've also kind of transformed past the platform. So, PR Stud Chat HAPO started out as both Twitter-based. HAPO has a Facebook page. HAPO has a LinkedIn group. we have meetups, and all of a sudden you're meeting up with a HAPO friend. It's not a Twitter friend. You know, wherever they are, they're your friend from PR Stud Chat or from HAPO. So the communities really do take on a life of their own, well beyond any particular platform.
Gotcha. I think maybe with PR Stud Chat, we'll follow that lead too, and maybe start getting some meetups.
Sure. Well, we did do our very first one was at Gary V's The Wine Library, which was a lot of fun, and we got even a few videos from that. Mackenzie had come into town. She was actually still a student, Mackenzie Stewart, and that was the first time I met Brittany, Brittany James at Biddy Boot, as we were talking about earlier. But it's been so rewarding to watch, that first class of 2010, which we met all of those folks, Brittany and Lauren Nova, who, she's just an amazing professional, during their senior year. And to get to kind of go through senior year, because PR Stud Chat started that August. And graduate with them, and now we're meeting kind of the new class and the classes beyond. So it's really special, and it brings me back to, gets me feeling a little bit closer to my college days.
Well, that's great. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you
I know
very
that you
much.
have to speak in a minute. So again, thank you, Valerie. I hope that you enjoyed everything. We'll see you guys next week. Please, submit your comments, anything like that. Be sure to tune into or join us for the PR Stud Chat on February 23rd, where we'll have Chris Brogan joining us, which should be very exciting. So that'll be on February 23rd. Please join us for that. And if you want to follow Valerie, she's at Valerie Simon. And trust me, she'll be willing to tweet you. Just introduce yourself. And for PRTV, I'm Harrison Kratz. This is my guest, Valerie Simon. And take care, everybody. Have a great night.